Hey everybody, Steven here, and for today's video I'm going to show you 3 different techniques you can use to kind of help yourself learn and utilize intra-abdominal pressure. I made a video that was just showing you 3 techniques that I use that are a little bit more advanced with trying to strengthen that. This video is just how do you get it, right? How do you build it? What is it? So most people talk about the diaphragm, especially if you're a singer, right? You need to use your diaphragm when you're singing, right? One of the things you need to do is actually breathe into the diaphragm or breathe down into the belly and utilize that diaphragm versus just shoulder breathing, which is what most people do, okay? An easy way to try and figure out if you're shoulder breathing or if you're utilizing the diaphragm and you're actually breathing into the belly here is just to simply lie on your back, and you actually put a hand over your stomach and then a hand over your chest. And what you want to feel when you're doing this is that your belly will rise and fall instead of your chest. Most people, when I get them here, most of my clients, when we're here, all they're doing is their shoulders are coming up and down and they're feeling the expansion of this hand over their chest, and they're feeling nothing or very little in their hand. If I'm here and I want to breathe in, I want to feel that pressure right here, right? And then we're let it go. That's a good place to just start, right? Breathing, being able to breathe into the belly and let go without the chest moving. Sometimes I have people that when they first start, I mean, they're just right there for a couple weeks just trying to learn that part of it because they've been shoulder breathing for so long that to get in tune and in touch with breathing into the belly and utilizing the diaphragm is really foreign to them. They don't do it. Now, the problem with this is if I'm shoulder breathing, I'm in a fight or flight state. So my body is kind of just stressed out at that point, right? That's stressful breathing, whether that's non-physical or physical, right? Your body doesn't want to take deep belly breaths. If you're trying to escape an attacker, it's going to do really, really shallow breaths so that it can just pump in oxygen as quick as it can and get away, right? Now, that has implications for that, right? And being in that stressed out state, right? And also when we're lifting, which is why we talk about this. So I want to breathe into the belly when I'm doing my deadlifts and my squats and my push-ups and my crawls and all these other movements, because this is my center and allows me to make sure that everything out from that, right? I believe everything distal from that is going to be just stronger. It's going to be a safer movement if you're doing that versus if this is collapsing and I'm doing heavy deadlifts or back squats, all that pressure is going to my spine. I don't want that. I want to utilize these muscles, okay? What I've noticed personally is it just gives a good indication of what's going on with the movement, right? If I'm doing my hand-foot crawls, bear crawl for anybody that isn't in the MoveNat system, we call it hand-foot in the MoveNat system. If I'm doing a hand-foot crawl or bear crawl and I'm off and I'm wobbling a lot, if I don't have that intra-abdominal pressure, I might not actually pick up on that. If I'm holding a certain amount of pressure as I'm doing that, I'm gonna pick up on, oh, I'm shifting. I can feel that twist across my trunk, okay? So that's the first one to start with. And actually, that's kind of just the basics. These other techniques are ways to test that, okay? Now for the first one, you're either gonna need, I don't know, a belt or a strap, something. I'm using a stretching strap here, just a string. You can use string, whatever you need. And what you're gonna do is that my sternum ends right here, okay? I'm gonna put this basically right underneath my chest, okay? It's gonna form a circle. I'm gonna pull it in tight, and my palms are facing up like this. I've pulled in tight, but I have space here. So I'm not pulling in so tight that I'm hugged up against my body. I got a little bit of excess on the inside parts here, right? Now if I'm here, okay, and I have this tension, I haven't breathed in my belly or anything like that. If I'm here and I actually take that deep breath through the nose and try to fill my belly with air, you'll actually see my hands get pulled in. Because as I'm expanding this 360 degrees, right, all the way around my body, as I'm expanding that, that's being pulled, the strap or whatever you're using is being pulled on because that pressure is pushing out on it. My hands will move in. And we'll do that for 5 to 10 reps, is just trying to teach you, okay, can you expand that? Because a lot of people when they first start out, they just push their belly out, right? They're literally trying and they can't quite connect to it and they'll just push their stomach out. That's not what we're doing here, right? We're filling this full cavity with air. The hard part with that being that it is really good if you can use like tactile cues like this, or if I could put my hands on my side, right? And I can push in and breathe in through the nose. And I can feel that's expanded. I can feel that's tight, right? If I let all that out, hands will fold in. If I have that pressure, it's tense, right? All the way through my back over here, right? I can feel that pressure. It's tight here as well, okay? So I can use this, like I said, 5 to 10 reps, if you want to call them that, right? Where I'm actually going to breathe in, hold that pressure for a second, then breathe out. Another technique that you can do as you get more advanced with this is, can I actually do that? Hold that pressure, right? I'm here. I have that pressure, and then sit here and talk. Or just hold it as long as you can and breathe. One of the things that people get kind of confused by is that I'm breathing in, I call it a balloon within a balloon, or I say it's a balloon within a balloon, right? I fill this balloon up, but I have a little bit of space right here where I'm still gonna breathe in. You might feel this go down just a little bit, but I'm not just letting go of everything. And that's how we perform this when we're doing our hand-foot crawl and our squats and all this other stuff, where we still need to breathe, right? If I'm doing a plank, I need to have this intra-abdominal pressure, but I still need to be able to breathe. If I'm not doing that, you're just gonna pass out, right? So we don't want that. So that's the first one here. It's a great one to start with after you've gone from the ground and you're just kind of teaching yourself how to do that. If I don't have this, really use your hands. Can I feel that there's pressure all the way around here, right? And not I'm pushing out against that. It's just naturally happening because I've filled this with air, okay? If you notice, I always breathe in through the nose. It's really hard to get this same amount of pressure if I'm breathing through my mouth, right? A guy I've trained with just used kind of the analogy or the metaphor of using like a straw and being able to blow more pressure through that versus if I had just like a huge hole that I'm trying to breathe through, right? It doesn't work like that. I can gain more pressure breathing through that nose, okay? Now, after that, we can actually do in dynamic neuromuscular stabilization, which is a modality where they look at neurological developmental patterns of babies. One of the things that they do is, I believe, a 3-month position, and it looks like a dead bug. And essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to lie on my back here, and I'm going to bring my arms and legs up like this, and I would be like a baby on its back. My back is completely flat to the ground. There is no, you can't get your hands through here, okay? Once I'm here, right, and I'm loose, legs are loose, I'm not flexing my feet, I got a little bit of bend, they're actually tilted in a little bit. Once I'm here, I'm just going to practice on breathing into the belly, feeling that pressure, and then holding it. How long I hold, up to me. At a certain point, I'm going to give out, right? Whether that's from the physical strain, I mean, neurologically, my body can't handle keeping up with everything, or mentally, I can't juggle everything anymore. At that point, I can come down, right? And then I'll do it again. And I'll usually repeat 3 to 6 times, right, for those holds. Everybody's different for the length, right? Usually we start getting to that minute mark. At that point, I'm like, all right, you own this position, right? You're really good at it. Let's move on. From there, that's where you would see somebody trying to switch to doing a dead bug, where they're here, making sure that that back is flat and coming back up, right? And doing that contralateral pattern and maintaining intra-abdominal pressure with that, right? Tension over time is one of the things that we talk about with that, right? And being able to maintain that is a skill. It's very, very difficult to do, but as you become much better at it, it's just making all the other movements that you're doing much safer, much better, and you're actually getting more out of it, in my opinion. I just feel deadlifts way more now utilizing this stuff, right? When I'm doing something like that, I'm actually feeling my pelvic floor as well. And because everybody's so used to sucking their gut in and not letting it hang out like it should, right? You never see a baby sucking its gut in trying to flex its ab. They got a pooch, right? It hangs out because they're naturally doing this. And then as we start to age and we get older, everything's tuck in and pull upright, and that's just causing problems. One of those is pulling all the pressure off our pelvic floor. There's no pressure on that pelvic floor. I mean, there's nothing kind of cueing it to stay very, very strong. It's going to atrophy and get weak over time, right? This helps that. I do my squats, my deadlifts, I feel that pelvic floor. And you can feel that it's getting stronger as well. So last thing that we're going to do, I'm going to combine what we just did. And I have a book here. Typically I use a plate, but I'm at my house right now. And I just have kettlebells, and those are going to be too heavy 5 to 10 pounds, right? All you're gonna do with that plate or a book or something that's flat is you're gonna come here, and now as I'm here and I breathe into that position, I can feel the pressure of the ground and the book pushing against me. So it's just a tactile cue, like, oh, I am pushing against that. I feel the floor pressure and I feel this right now, right? So it just gives you that pressure to push against. And then I can actually do things like the dead bug that you saw me do a minute ago with that on there, so that I know I'm keeping that pressure against there. DNS sells belts where they have like little plastic deals that like push, and I think it has 6 of them, but they push in certain areas so that if you start to feel one doesn't really have that pressure anymore, you're not feeling it anymore, you know you need to push air there, okay? So those are some of the techniques that you can use to kind of intro yourself into utilizing intra-abdominal pressure, breathing in, utilizing the diaphragm. Just notice too, throughout your day, how much people shoulder breathe, right? Yourself included. Like, I just see this all the time, and people are stressed out all the time because this is a stress response breathing pattern, right? We want to get rid of that. So utilize this with all your lifts. That's a great place to start. Once you master these is really when you can transfer that over, and then some of those more advanced techniques, and I'll put a link for that at the end of the video where you guys can see some of those other techniques. There's another video that a buddy of mine did, me and him did, and he was showing some techniques that he uses for cueing intra-abdominal pressure. So I'm going to link that one as well, which one of them I believe we used here also. But some great stuff where he's actually utilizing the med ball to push the pressure certain areas. And that's where you're getting more into advanced techniques, right? Can I push to this pocket down here and here and here and here and this side, right? If you do have somebody working out with you, it does help if they can kind of push, all right, that side feels weaker than this side, push more pressure here. If they're pushing here, I'm like, okay, that side's a little bit weaker, you could try to push more of that air there. And over time, you'll gain that ability. I do certain movements and I'm like, ooh, that side doesn't feel right. I'll push more pressure there and it feels safe, it feels secure versus unstable, all right? So if you guys like the video, hit the like button for me. If you want to continue to follow along with all of my content here on YouTube, whether that's MoveNat stuff, medical exercise stuff, the supplement reviews, all that different stuff, hit the subscribe button for me, and thanks so much for watching.